Program on TV. It's Talk Sport on Global Television. My name is Anthony Momodi. Welcome to today's edition. The promise is to be explosive as we've got all the big stories making the rounds in the exciting world of sport. And we've got someone who many times I get confused if he's from Barcelona, Nigeria, Bielsa, or where else. Yes, I've got Dixon Mazzino who will be joining us in the course of the program to add more fire to the exciting world of sport already. Okay, I'm not alone. I've got my co-anchor in the building, Odi Samuel, who's looking like $1 million this morning. I guess we have to probe him to know if he's already eating from the pot of Amajupinic or FIFA. Nice to have you. How's everything going?
So well, so good. Thank you for. It's just an amazing time to always be here with you. King of sport, and then bringing out the good big stories out to amazing viewers back home. So it's going to be another awesome day, and we'll be bringing you big stories of what happened, you know, from last night and other stories coming up in the world of football and all of that. So you just sit at home and then enjoy. We'll bring you top stories.
All right, let's begin from where it matters most. It has to be home, sweet home. Let's talk about the Super Eagles. There's no doubt that everybody knows we are in search of a new coach for our darling Super Eagles, and the NFF is doing something that's unusual. All right, my producer says, hold on to your horses. Let's go for a very quick break. When we return from the break, we'll be unleashing all the big stories. After this break, stay with us. Right, welcome back. It's time for us to talk sport. No better place to start but talking about our darling Super Eagles as we search for the head coach of the Super Eagles, and also but the NFF is doing something extraordinary, never seen before, never heard before, where assistant coaches are already appointed before the main coach is hired. What do you think is playing out right now? Is the NFF buying time to be able to decide who leads the Super Eagles, or they're just trying to reinvent the process of getting a head coach? I thought when the head coach comes, he decides who is going to be part of his backroom staff.
Yes, I think they're just trying to take their time. They're trying to take their time because it's actually it's very, very crucial. It's a crucial moment for the NFF to select a coach, because at the end of the day, World Cup 2026 is just around the corner. The qualifiers is around the corner. So now they need to take their time so much to take a coach that would be able to like fit in. So them now making this adjustment of the coach, trying to get his own assistants for the harmony and all to happen in the backroom staff, so that they don't have issues in the near future. So I think the NFF now are just trying to take their time to be able to get someone who will be able to do the job perfectly. I think that's the reason why they want Finidi George to be the one to take the Super Eagles for the friendlies in Ghana and Mali.
All right, let's see what's going to pan out if it means the man called Finito, and he's playing games for Real Betis and also played for Ajax in Holland, if he's going to be the man to call the shots for the Super Eagles. We know he's got the calmness, but is he good enough? We saw him do it at the home front with Eyimba. This talking about the national team is a whole new ballgame. But this same man had played for Real Betis. At a point, he was one of the best sevens in the world. Can Finito get the job done is a big question. We also know that Emmanuel Amuneke and other coaches are also sparring for that job. One man who should ordinarily be one of the first pickers, Samson Siasia, is still under ban by FIFA. Hopefully in the coming months, when his ban is lifted, he might come in with a shout. But let's see if the NFF plan to name a replacement for Joseph Pizarro next month in time for the crucial 2026 World Cup qualifiers against South Africa, talking about the Bafana and the Benin Republic in June. But Tuesday's deadline for submission of applications from qualified candidates was met by some persons who had interest, one of them being Emmanuel Amunike, Salisu Yusuf. I have a problem with Salisu Yusuf applying. That man brought Nigeria's football to disrepute. He hasn't shown that he's good enough in club side. He has not done anything. But I wonder if he's coming in based on ethnicity, just because Guso is from the north. He's constantly being brought into the scheme of things, and I think it's very bad for someone who was caught red-handed collecting bribe. He should not be anywhere close to the national teams any further. The other time he was giving the Super Eagles home-based team to was it Saudi Arabia? Yeah. And I think they're just giving him a chance to get some extra coach. We have better coaches, and we also have Daniel Amokachi, the bull, who has also thrown his hat in the ring, and I'm wondering, he's more of a sports pundit commentator than a coach, and for me, his ego is too big to handle the national team. I don't want a coach that will want the players to serve him rather than him serve the nation.
Yes.
So I think I have a problem with Daniel Amokachi.
I agree with you.
Besides Stephen Keshi, the big boss, I don't think these other players, for me, Emmanuel Amunike to lead the judge, in my own personal opinion, have the charisma to lead the national ball. Dan the Bull, Salisu, I have question mark. I know Dixon has big talking points as regards who he wants to be, and he's angling to come into the picture of play. But so we wait to see what Dixon is going to tell us. But from your own perspective, looking at these players, these ex-players taking charge of the Super Eagles.
You know, like you said, I agree with you with Daniel Amokachi, and then I also, like 1,000,000,000%, agree with you with Salisu, Yusuf, because he has been caught in the act. So I don't think he should be considered. His application shouldn't be received, even if there's a way the email will bounce it back. It should be bounced back, because that's not what we want for football. That's not what we want for football. We are doing so much to get to that level, and then we wouldn't want someone dragging us backwards. So that's not welcoming. So I think Daniel Amokachi is going to do well, but he's more of a commentator, as you said, because he's like a big dog, and he will want, okay, you youngest, pay me accolades, and if you don't pay accolades, maybe if the bigger player is now like stars like Victor Osimhen, if they are not wanting to pay me, they might end up benching them, and then at the end of the day, Super Eagles is going to suffer if we don't get results. So I would advise to get someone, who can serve the country, serve the players, and then for one goal at the end of the day, just for us to get to the World Cup and even to the quarterfinals.
All right, we know that some other foreigners are also interested, like former Cameroonian coach Antonio Consao, also interested. But shouldn't we be looking at Antonio Conte and others as the kind of coaches that should be interested in the Super Eagles, looking at the brand, the Super Eagles, rather than coaches like Pissarro and co, who wants to use the Super Eagles to make names for
boost their CVs. See, if NFF, please listen, if you want to bring any international coach, get me Jose Mourinho. Don't just get us anybody that is trying to boost CV, so that, okay, maybe other African countries and other maybe European countries will want to okay, yes, these guys have actually done well in Nigeria, because Super Eagles is a big brand already. We are not trying to build, we are there already. So we just need someone that has goals and big visions, and then they'll just come and then we just all ride along, not someone who is trying to, scratch and then the surface and then see what's just test the waters and see what happens for him. So we should, if you want to get an international coach, we should get a big name. We should get someone that, yes, is there, that has handled, bigger clubs and all of that. I know the resources is there to fund, to fund whoever that will bring it.
All right, let's stay talking about our darling Super Eagles. We know that the international break for March 22nd and 26th is coming up, and the Super Eagles will be involved in friendly matches against the Black Stars of Ghana and the Eagles of Mali. For the new coach, how do you think this is going to pan out? And also, do you think it's time for the Super Eagles, the new coach, to also bring fresh players into the team, or he should build with the team we saw in Ivory Coast?
There's always room for, young talents, fresh people, that can come in and just add to what we have already. I'm sure any coach coming will want to scout for, someone that can fit into his own kind of play. Though we have qualities already on ground, So with what we have on ground and getting a little more is actually good. There's actually talks of Luton defender, Gabriel Osho, who might be coming to join the Super Eagles to play the friendlies, which is coming up in Ghana and Mali. So we are open for qualities that will come and then support, because if you look at it, you know, we kind of suffer during AFCON because there are no other persons that can play the key role that Williams Ekong played. Yes, so we had to play with injury, all of that. So these are things we want to avoid in the near future. The World Cup is around the corner, so we need to avoid things like that. That's why the new coach now coming in would need to bring some kind of good players that can assist likes of William Ekong, Samuel Anyini, all of those big names. So we also need players. Yes, I advise the new coach that will be coming in to get good qualities, not just being biased and all of that. Okay,
we know that in this friendly against Mali and Ghana, George Finidi is likely to lead the Super Eagles team. Do you think that's going to be a good test for Finidi George to see if probably NFL is trying to test the waters to see how good he turns out? Should that be enough test to see if he's the man for the job?
I think that's, yeah, kind of. I think because
against Mali and the Black Stars of Ghana,
I would have expected, you know, the tougher teams, but this Ghana and Mali are actually strong teams. So, you know, given the fact that he was the assistant to Jose Pizarro, so I feel they are just like, okay, you just be here for now, and then let's see how it goes, how it plays out with you. So this is actually a very good test for him, because we'll be expecting him to, you know, go and perform, and him performing is actually going to give him a chance to see if they are going to give him the job or not.
On permanent basis.
Yes, on permanent basis. So this is like a provisional stuff for him, I think.
All right, we know that the African Games is still going on in Ghana, in Kumasi, Cape Coast, and other cities there, and Nigeria not doing so badly already as of press time. We know that Nigeria is in the second position in terms of the medal tables, and we'll be giving you more details as regards that. But let's before we go for the first break, where Dixon will be coming in with lots of firepower, like the Barcelona team did last night. We'll be looking at the Champions League. Last night, finally, Arsenal, after 10 long years, I know this is a fan of Arsenal, finally made it to the quarterfinal. So he says, no, he's not part of Arsenal. Okay. All right, 10 years, it took a long while. And
I think 14 years.
Lots of Chelsea fans say they are even better than Arsenal, because it took Arsenal so long a time to get to quarterfinals. You're not even saying win the Champions League. Okay, so are the Gunners finally here to stay? Beating Napoli 3-1. That's a good. Barcelona beating Napoli 3-1. Yes. But for Arsenal beating Porto, how did you expect that result to go that way? Because it looked like Porto had this upper hand in the first leg.
Yeah, you know, we spoke yesterday and we said if they maintain their calm and their cool, their coordination and all, they would be able to get the win. That was the conversation we had yesterday. And it was amazing that they were able to do that. They were just hungry. They were calm, but they kept going. So I wasn't totally surprised by that result, but I wasn't expecting it to drag into penalties. So it's dragging into penalties the moment it got to that. So I was just like, I was happy for Arsenal fans, though I'm not an Arsenal fan. It's out there. I'm not an Arsenal fan, so I'm happy. I'm happy for them that they were able to, you know, break this 10-year. I think the last they were there, it was 2009, 2010. Yes, I think that was it. This is like 14 years. Come on now, 14 years. Congratulations, Arsenal.
There was something very interesting yesterday. The fact that David Raya had 2 penalty kicks saved. Do you think he has finally paid Arteta the faith he had in him? Do you think Ramsdale would have done better or worse?
I think David Ryan has done so much. He tried. He did an awesome job. Even some crucial save that he made during the game. And then also when it was time for the whole Arsenal nation, when they depended on him, he also delivered. So I think he has paid Arteta, like, you know, so much. And this is just awesome for him. You know, he's a hero. I'm sure he had a very good night of celebration, because the way Arsenal fans and Arsenal players were celebrating, as if they played the finals yesterday. It wasn't like I was happy for them, but the jubilation, it's actually
was too much.
It was too much. So I'm just imagining, okay, they are the last 8 now, part of the last 8. Imagine they get to the finals and win. That means we don't go hear what for this world.
Okay, you have to go through so that you understand what you meant to the Arsenal fans. All right, I'm just taking a dig at the Gunners, and we know that Nicholas is an Arsenal fan. He's just nodding his head to the right left. Everybody's designing Arsenal. Even the cameraman behind the scenes says, "I'm no Arsenal fan." All right, why you keep denying Arsenal? All right, time will tell if they're going to win the English Premier League. All right. Let's talk about Barcelona against Napoli before we go for the quick break, because one man is itching to come score some goals. He's talking about Dixon Marzino. Oh boy, that name is...
That's a big name.
Yeah, big name for the big fish. Yes. All right, so Barcelona-Napoli was the game, and it took Lewandowski's lead strike erupt at the home crowd as Xavi's side book their place in the Champions League for the quarterfinals for the first time in 4 years. Barcelona made it to the quarterfinals of the Champions League for the first time in 4 years. That's we know Barcelona is a big team, but saying in 4 years, that's also quite a long time. 3-1 win over Napoli. Did Napoli disappoint us?
You know, Barcelona came out to play. They came out to play. They played Napoli half field at some point, you know. But I was expecting more from Napoli, you know, given the kind of players' qualities that they have. I was expecting more from them. But it is what it is. It's a game of football. It happened. So Barcelona on its end, you know, they've been knocking and knocking for the past 4 seasons now, which hasn't been a smooth run, because, you know, they had some rebuilding that they needed to do. And I think Barcelona, they are beginning to find their feet now, and then they are going to be, you know, a big challenge for other teams. Yeah, for other teams that they are going to face, and or even the 17-year-old made it very, very difficult. That's I'm talking about Paul Gabrisso. I can't really. Yeah, he actually made it a bit the man of the match. He actually made it a bit difficult for Victor Osimhen yesterday. Victor Osimhen, who is even more experienced, you know, and one of the top strikers in Europe, in Napoli. So he was able to, you know, get crucial stops and then get a lot of stops. So he didn't really make the job easy for Victor Osimhen last night. But at the end of the day, Barcelona had the last laugh, and then, you know, Napoli would go back and then plan and then re-strategize and then come back better by next season.
All right, we also wish the Barca fans the very best getting that needed victory. But for Napoli, what does this do to their confidence? Because they've not had a very brilliant season thus far.
I know, you know, things like this, you know, usually bring people down, you know, drops their confidence a bit, but it just depends, you losing just depend on how you're going to get back at it. So I think they should just, you know, take it as one of those games that they lost and then bounced back and then continue doing what they are doing. And
should this be encouraging Osimhen to finally say, okay, I think it's time for me to leave Naples and
I think the man has made up his mind to move. I think he has made. It's just for the numbers now. It's just the numbers to add up, because I think he's, you know, telling Chelsea he wants to get £250 million, £250,000 every week. So that's something they need to, you know, sit and then, you know, finalize. But like I always say, I want him to go to PSG because of the style of play and agility, because he has qualities where he's going to, you know, perform well if he goes to PSG. But if Chelsea it is, then, you know, Chelsea is going to be for him there.
All right, so time will tell where Victor Osimhen will be heading to. But for us, we know we're heading to. We're going for a quick break, and we're going to be having some substitution as Dixon Marzino is getting ready. I see him warming up. You have to get scared of this defender when you're coming to score a goal. You see his face. You decide, okay, am I going to kick this ball outside just to prevent him from, you know, coming at me, or probably just let him have the ball. Reminds me of Pepe, the head man for FC Porto. Okay, let's go for a quick break. When we return, Talk Sport continues. More fire about to hit you. All right, Pep has made his call, and we've got Odis Samuel there, who has been holding forth from the left wing, made to go on the bench. And I hope he's not angry like Kevin De Bruyne over the weekend. We've got the man who has the burden of scoring the goals, and I hope he didn't forget his scoring boots like Victor Osimhen did at AFCON 2023. Let's make welcome Dixon Mazzino. He sounds Italian. Dixon, always a pleasure having you.
My pleasure, Anthony. Great to be here. Always great to be here.
Yeah, so let's delve into Super Eagles. We know in search of the head coach. For you, we've seen the news. They're starting with getting the assistant first before the head coach. For you, is that a wise move? Shouldn't whoever, if it's Philippe George, shouldn't he be allowed to pick his backroom staff?
Conventionally, yes, the coach should be allowed. But you know that the NFF over the years, they always try to have a say the composition of the backroom staff. They've always
why? What's the importance?
I guess maybe it's just to ensure that they don't lose control of the team, especially when it comes to issues of selection and partly wages and allowances, so that there will be some kind of, a link with the team, so that the team will not...
Are you saying someone who's going to be giving them info as far what's happening in the team?
Information, and like a liaison person that at least they can easily have a... Yes. And for me, Finidi is a no-brainer because his name has figured for quite a while now. Many fans, many sports journalists, everybody, the names like Finidi, Amunike. And why is that? Finidi and Amunike, they honed their skills in Spain. Finidi with Mallorca, Real Betis, then of course Ajax. And of course, the basis of the Nigerian team of the 90s was Dutch football.
Sure.
And so an Amunike, Finidi is closer to our football philosophy. So it makes sense. Giving Finidi a kind of test with Mali and Ghana, it's a good one. If he is the main man to go, not bad at all. If he is to serve as an assistant, it's okay, because he already has some experience with the Super Eagles setup, as the coaching setup, having been with Coach Pesero, and he has coached in our local league, winning the Nigerian league with Eyimba. Yeah. So he's quite familiar. And of course, the general consensus, or the majority of most fans and football enthusiasts, Emmanuel Amunike, because like I said, he won the Under-17 World Cup with the Golden Eaglets, and he was the one that discovered the likes of Osimhen, Samuel Chukwueze, Nwakali, and the rest of them. So
he's got eyes for talent.
He's got eyes for talent. He's got eyes for talent, and for me, if Amunike is selected with Finidi, that would be good, because Amunike is quiet but very firm. He is determined, and he can make the big calls, and he will not be bullied. Amunike will not be bullied. Yes, Finidi is calm and gentle, but you also need someone with some strong personality and deep knowledge of football. And so, for me, Finidi with Amunike would be fantastic. I understand Vincent Enyama is also being considered to play a role.
For the goalkeeping department?
Yes.
Okay.
That confidence, that authority that we saw from Nwabali at the Nations Cup will be consolidated with the other goalkeepers, wherever they may be. The former Nigerian coach, Bonfer Joe, also made a call for Amunike, and he even offered that if he's ready to play as a backroom staff, like a tactical. Now, imagine you have Emmanuel Amunike, Finidi George, Vincent Enyama, and Bonfer Joe as the match reader. I mean, that's a solid bench. But whatever the case may be, I know definitely Amunike, Amokachi are the ones that would be considered. If they go to the Nigerian league, we also have some coaches.
We're talking about Daniel Amokachi and Salih Yusuf. I and Odi Samuel did technically cast aspersion on the ego of Daniel Amokachi and also the sour point of Salih Yusuf. These two men, what are your concerns about these two individuals? If they were to be considered, wouldn't that rock the boat?
Well, Daniel Amokachi has also coached in Finland, so give it to him. He was also with Stephen Keshi, so he has an idea. But of course, you talked about the big ego. Now, that is an issue. But if it comes to motivating the team, it's good. But remember one thing, Anthony, that one of the reasons why Coach Peseiro succeeded to the point he did was because he had total control of the team, and they listened to him, and they knew who was in control. And you need someone, like I said, that has that personality to ensure that the players don't have that big ego. You might say Amokachi has a big ego, but if it's for good, it can be used for good.
True.
You know, remember, he was aggressive as a player, and it worked for us. It brought that fear to into other teams, and you saw that we profited from it. So Amokachi, I'm not averse to him personally. The only issue, like you talked about, is he tactically good enough, and is he a match reader? Because you need someone that reads the matches and can make an intervention or give advice to whoever is the coach to, you know, okay, bring in this player, take out this player, you understand. For Salisu, I'm not really going to dwell on the past about the scandal. I'm looking at more of his ability. He was supposed to have served as the bridge between the local league, the national team, and but the few times he has been there, he has not really hit. He has not. The only time he came close was with Chan team in 2018 when they reached the final. But other than that, we've not seen anything with him. Even on the local scene, he has not been so fantastic. So for me, I think he should actually be excused from this one, and let's just concentrate. You also talked about bringing other coaches from abroad, Mourinho, Conte. Well, I mean, everybody will want a Mourinho, but can we pay is the problem. Can the NFF pay? If they've been able to sort out the issue of funding, then why not? Why wouldn't we bring Mourinho? Mourinho was the one that recommended Peseiro in the first place. So already Mourinho already has something to do with Nigerian football, whether I like it or not.
But do we need a Mourinho if we want to play the Nigerian pattern of football?
Very good. That's a very important question, and it's one issue that has plagued the minds of football purists in Nigeria, because we have a football culture, we have a philosophy, and it's to attack, build from the back, maintain possession, go from the wings. When the wings don't work, go through the center, and when that doesn't work, set plays as center backs coming to deliver the goods. And we saw set plays at AFCON, but from the middle at all, it was zero. And that's where an Amunike and a Finidi will be needed, because they know that the key to making Nigerian teams tick is the midfield, especially the playmaking position. The last time I was here, I talked about it, that it would appear to me that
since the exit of
Austin JJ Okocha, we have not been able to. Of course, we all wanted Mikel to play that role, but you know,
Mourinho changed his future.
So he lost that bit of yard and became more tactically
defensive minded.
So the truth is, we've never really had a playmaker in the real sense of it. Some argue that in football of today, the playmaker is not so important, but for Nigeria it is important. That is our style. It has worked for us, and it will continue to work, because the whole idea is, you don't want to have a one-dimensional style of football running from the wings. Once teams know that, they shut you down. We saw that in the final against the Ivory Coast. They knew that we were going to play from the wings, and they simply put extra men, and that was it. So we need to have a coach that will bring back the traditional playmaking role that has been missing in this team, and our team will do much better.
All right, for the NFF, how big is this task for them to finally decide who takes. Yes, these are just speculations. Do you think the Mali-Ghana match would be used as a complete test run for Finidi George?
Sure, absolutely. It's a test run. What I like is to know, Mali and Ghana, they are big ECOWAS rivals. And remember, it's the World Cup qualifiers we're playing. So I know we're supposed to play Argentina, but due to logistics, it was cancelled. That would have been a good one. But playing Mali and Ghana, those are two very strong teams. Ghana, any day, it's a derby for us. Jollof rice derby, whatever you want to call it, but it is a derby for Nigerians.
Looking at in terms of the playing staff, what we saw at the Cup of Nations, what areas do you think Finidi George will be looking at to bring in players? And is this Finidi George, Emmanuel Amunike, is that good news for our local players in the league?
Absolutely, absolutely. You see that Emmanuel Amunike, I mean, he brought in Victor Osimhen, he brought in Nwakali, he brought in Chukwueze. Now, these players were not even playing in our local league. They were playing in our academies. So they understand the importance of getting our footballers from the grassroots. And if you've been watching our local league in the last few months, exciting goals, we've seen some good play, we've seen that the league has stepped up. So definitely, it would be nice to have some home feel because, you know, the local players will want to prove themselves and they know that playing for the national team is the biggest opportunity. And so definitely, Finidi and Amunike will do that. Then, of course, which area would Finidi focus on and whoever is definitely the midfield. We are okay with the attack. In fact, we have too many attackers now. You mentioned earlier in the show that we're bringing another striker into the Super Eagles.
A defender from
Luton. Okay, defender, sorry, I beg your pardon, defender. Then, of course, several names have been bandied. Look, for me, I am okay with the attack. Murphy is there. Dessers has been doing well in the Scottish League and Europa League. Umar, after the injury, has found his rhythm. Sadiq Umar has found his rhythm. So I'm not bothered about the attack. We're okay. The defense. The defense
and goalkeeping department?
It would be good to also
Do you think there's going to be clear out in the goalkeeping department aside Nwabali?
Well, if you ask...
Because Francis Ozoro, for me, I feel he has overstayed his welcome.
If you ask many a fan, if Ozoro is dropped, there will be a party because he has, unfortunately, he has not done himself much good. No. After the 2018 World Cup, you expected he would step up. He never did.
And he had the laxity of time for him to him to the #1 jersey.
And he did not. But Nwabali came and he has already made his name. Although he's injured, he was injured over the weekend in South Africa. But it would be nice to see an Olorunleke. It would be nice to see there's this new guy that just got Nigerian citizenship. I think he should play for the Arsenal youth team. You know, it's good to try other players. Yes. In fact, the friendly match is to try one or two new people with the personnel we have on ground. For me, I don't think Osimhen should play. We know what he can do, except, of course, what they now want to do is, if Osimhen plays, they now staff the midfield the way it should be, so that we can see Osimhen in flight. Because, I mean, he suffered at the Nations Cup. He wasn't allowed to play his traditional role. He had to be going back to pick rubbles to make hay. And look, he's a striker, an out-and-out striker. And if he's going to play deep, you need someone that can complement him. Nobody complimented him. So maybe Finidi and whoever comes in would want to try maybe the first match or the second match, or maybe the first half of each match. Because, of course, they won't play the full 90 minutes just to test. Because the main real battle is against South Africa here in June.
All right, let's go to the foreign scene, Barcelona, Napoli. Lots of people thought maybe Napoli might be able to create a shocker because Barcelona has not been in Paris form this season. But does this tell us that quality is permanent and maybe class is permanent, form is temporary? Was that what we saw?
For Napoli, since they lifted the Serie A title, they've been, and their coach left, things have not been the same. We've had about 2 coaches go through the door. They still not found that rhythm. There was a time Osimhen was having problems. It seemed like, it appeared like there was some conspiracy to deny him. Yes, and that affected the team. Then he got injured. He went for the African Cup of Nations. So that completely derailed their season. They tried to make up for it in the first leg, pulling a draw. But, Barcelona has been undertaking an unbeaten run for some time. And they have this young crop of young boys from La Masia there who are really crazy about making an impact. Yassin and the likes, Fernandes, all of them, they are really, really on fire. So Barcelona is a traditional Champions League team.
True.
So it's their terrain. They are used to it, playing at the Nou Camp in front of nearly 100,000 fans. They will want, and of course, total football, tiki-taka, and it's working for them. Remember, Coach Xavi Hernandez is also leaving at the end of the season.
But no, there was a story some weeks back where Laporta asked him he could as well stay back, rescind his decision and stay back as the coach. Do you think that even that move by saying he was leaving also had a way of inspiring the team to want to deliver the goods for him? And if the offer Laporta gave him to stay back is accepted, do you think that will be a game changer, or it was a game changer?
It was, I'll call it a win-win situation on both sense, in both instances, because when he said, okay, I'm leaving, the players now knew that, okay, our coach is leaving, we have to do something. So they had to now come out and play. Now he says the possibility of him staying is also an added advantage. Okay. It will even make the players play more. The fans, I mean, I don't know of the culture, but I know like in England, the fans, it's really like, if Liverpool, Manchester United or Chelsea, if this kind of thing were to happen, they would all get behind the team and it would motivate them. And I think that's happening for Barcelona. So if he decides to stay at the end of the season, that's very good. But I think the whole idea is, let's see where we go. Let's see how far we can get. If we can get to the Champions League semi-finals or finals, that will be considered a successful season, considering where they are coming from. If they can bounce back and remove Girona from the second position of La Liga, that would also mean that, okay, we didn't do badly, and they can build from there. Remember, Barcelona is a brand name. Eventually, you would see one or two players from other teams coming next season once they settle down. So it's a win-win situation.
All right, let's look at other talking points. Yes, Arsenal is in news. It's no longer a big story that Arsenal did qualify for the quarterfinals after beating Porto 4-2 on penalties. For you, how good is this for Arteta, especially as a coach, the fact that he's breaking bounds with the Gunners?
First and foremost, when Arsenal won last night, I mean, both on the internet, it was just we think they won the World Cup. I was like, come on, you just beat Porto. But I can understand where they're coming from. Years of drought, you know. I mean, it's painful when you watch your other English Premier League opponents Wednesday night, Tuesday night. You are at home playing either Carabao Cup or Europa or Conference or not playing at all. So to them, it's like a victory. But I told all my friends, I said, look, okay, you guys are won. You know, this is where it ends because you cannot go any further. But he now said, bring Bayern, bring Real Madrid, we're ready. Let's see how that goes. But
the teams you mentioned, Bayern, Real Madrid, yes. Can Arsenal successfully beat this team?
They can't. No, just see, Porto is a traditional Champions League team, and you saw that. Yes, Arsenal got the goal, but Porto never really looked threatened. They had a certain 41-year-old Pepe in defense, and he was just mopping up everything that Arsenal threw at them. The problem with Arsenal is that they are an exciting team, but that killer punch that is needed when you're going against teams like Real Madrid, they don't have it. They will be found out. There's no question about it. They will definitely be found out. If they play against Bayern Munich will find the shooting range. And for Harry Kane, it will be special. Being from North London, from Tottenham, he will want to deliver the goods. For Real Madrid, it's shooting practice for them because, you know, Real Madrid, they're like a boxer. You think they are going there, they now hit you when you don't expect. Pow! And everything just changes. So, Arsenal, it's good for them. Raya, fantastic, made fantastic penalty saves. Our own Saka, the good for him. Martinelli, all of them. It's a new experience for them. And so reaching the quarterfinals is no mean feat. Whatever happens, Arsenal has had a good season. It would be nice if they could win the Champions League. But it's just that if they win, I mean, the banter will be top notch. So, for me, a Liverpool fan, well, I don't have anything personal with Arsenal. No, of course, I'm a Liverpool fan. I don't hide it at all. But it will be good for Arsenal if they do. But they will not have bragging rights with Chelsea and, of course, Manchester United. And it will be very interesting, really.
All right, let's see how it pans out. Let's go to the next story. Very interesting story. I hope my producer can flash the pictures. We're talking about FIFA. FIFA is in the news this morning. Let's say that FIFA has published their 2023 doping report and confirmed there was a 30% increase in the total number of tests carried out per team at the Women's World Cup. Football's global body have been ramping up their testing effort throughout youth and senior age in a bid to clamp down on doping. The latest effort over the past year have seen FIFA authorize thousands of tests and plunge huge resources into the area to identify and prevent any wrongdoing in the sport. The annual anti-doping report covers FIFA's effort in testing from January 1st to December 31st, 2023, and as stated on the official update, provides a quantitative overview of the testing procedures. It was revealed that the Women's World Cup was the main focus of the anti-doping report, where 860 in and out of competition tests were completed over the course of the tournament. Posting the full findings of their report online, FIFA stated that over the full year, FIFA's testing effort concluded in a total of 1,592 doping control tests across 7 competitions, amounting to a total of 2,616 samples collected, and which were analyzed by 13 laboratories worldwide, accredited by the World Anti-Doping Agency. Out of the samples collected, only one resulted in an adverse analytical finding justified by the valid therapeutic use of exemption. Let's just look at this, how important this is that FIFA is doing to help the sports of football. Because we know that just 48 hours ago, we had Cameroon FA, suspend 62 players for age cheating. So how important are these controls, especially for FIFA?
Quality control, keeping the reputation of the game clean is something that I commend FIFA for doing. And you know that over the course of time, the anti-doping agencies now add more and more drugs that are banned. Now, sometimes what happens is it's not as if some sportsmen and women deliberately dope. Okay. It's just that maybe, as at the time, some of them are found to have failed a dope test. It's because residues of the updated drugs that have been banned are still in their system. So maybe, for instance, if someone had been using a particular drug that was not banned before for like 3-4 years, and FIFA announces it today in March, if you carry out the test, say, in May, the residue will still be there. Now, you cannot blame the sports person at that point in time. It's just because this was updated. So maybe I think what needs to be done is for football, when certain drugs are announced as banned, and maybe some players or who have been using those drugs before, it's good to come out clean and look, okay, I used it from so-so time to so-so time, so that it wouldn't seem as if they spiked up their system to improve their overall performance. And that's what's been happening a lot of times. While some actually argue there's a conspiracy theory that most of these doping tests are targeted at players of African descent because of our physique, the way we are built.
And the work rate.
The work rate. So the idea is to try and slow it down. But the truth is, if you go back to the 80s, most of the consumers of these banned drugs were Europeans and South Americans, not really African players, not even players of African descent. So it's good that FIFA is doing this. The idea is to have a clean sport so that if you win cleanly, and there's no dissension as to you had an advantage over others. So it's a good one. It's a good one.
All right, before we call it a wrap, let's delve into this issue. Talking about Greenwood is in the news this morning. Let's give you some story concerning Greenwood. It's being said that the Manchester United football director John Morthoff and the chief transfer negotiator Matt Hargreaves popped up in Spain, sparking rumors that Mason Greenwood's future was on the agenda. Greenwood has spent the season on loan at Getafe and has been strongly linked with a £40 million permanent move to La Liga. In the summer, Morthoff and Hargreaves first seen on a video filmed outside a Barcelona restaurant where they had lunch with Barca sporting director Deco and 2 high-powered representatives from the base agency. All right, let's look at Greenwood. Do you think Greenwood moving to Barcelona, would that be a big loss to Manchester United? And it's Manchester United making the right move, courtesy just because of women society groups and the allowing Greenwood leave?
The truth is that in England in particular, those groups, human rights groups, they are very, very strong, and you don't want to get in their way. It can give you bad press. They can disrupt games. They can, they can serve as a distraction. And I know Greenwood has his own issues, temperament issues, a bit, that typical but in terms of skill set, Greenwood is up there. He's fantastic. I won't say he's the best, but the potentials are there. Yeah. Take him to Barcelona, or him moving to Barcelona will bring an added dimension to their play, because he's brought up in the English game. He's very fast. He's good with both feet. He can shoot very well. He can enter. He can cross. So it makes sense for Manchester United to avoid the PR crisis that may happen if he comes back, and rather cash in on it now for the boy's future. They make some money, and the boy goes where he's happy. And if you look at it, so far, Greenwood seems to be happier in Spain. Spain, they don't tend to bother about your personal lifestyle, whether it is marriage, affairs. They keep those off the pitch. So it's easier for them. That's why someone like David Beckham, remember when he was in Real Madrid, and the tabloids kept trying to bring up scandals. In Spain, they swept it aside. They said that those are personal matters. It's in England that they try to make it an issue. So for Greenwood, I think going to Barcelona is a win in the sense that he's going to a football culture, one of the best football clubs in the world, playing in one of the most technically adept leagues in the world. And he will be a better person. He will make more money, and his personal life will be under the radar. And he will just go about doing his own. For Manchester United, more money to the bank, build for next season, and see where they go from there.
All right, well, so that's how we're going to be trying to wrap with the discourse with Dickson Marzino. Thank you. Always a pleasure having you.
My pleasure.
Talk sport, and we're hoping. I know it's going to be once in the season, so we're going to see you next week
hopefully.
To talk sports. Sure. And that's how we're going to go for a very quick break. When we return from the break, it's a quick wrap up on Talk Sports. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. This is where we'll call it a wrap on today's edition of the program, Talk Sports. I want to say big thank you to Dickson Marzino. He's been super amazing, as good as a Greenwood right there in Spain. Like they say, when it rains in Spain, it pours, and that's I've got the 6 foot man back.
Yes, it pours like Dickson's, Thank you so much. You're so amazing. That's so amazing. Thank you so much. So thank you so much for keeping it locked with us on Talk Sport. We really appreciate you.
All right, so we'll call it a wrap. Let's do this again tomorrow. Good morning.